Hey, what's up, you guys? It's JK. How you guys doing? Y'all good? I'm glad. So awkward, yo. 너무 어색해. I think I'm gonna change my intro. That's not me anymore. That's like, I don't know. I don't feel it anymore. You know. I just wish I could just be like, and just start the video. Maybe I should start doing that. Huh? um, I don't know. I think I want to start by saying I missed you guys. I think I really did. No, I know I did. Um, I noticed that in my life, it's kind of hard to find people who are willing to just sit down and listen and just kind of hear what you got to say, you know? And when you do, it's usually just stuff about life anyways, and just, I don't know, nothing really deep or meaningful ever comes out of a conversation that I've had in school or anywhere else. And so this is really nice to be able to just bear out my soul and to kind of talk about things that are really important in my life. And I don't know, I think that's a very wonderful outlet that YouTube provides me. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for all your sweet comments and just wonderful things that you always say, regardless of how crappy that I am and how flaky I am with my YouTube schedule and stuff. Just really thank you for always being there for me, and just, you know, means a lot more to me than I kind of let out and show people, because it's sissy stuff, you know. But you know, I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I don't know, over these past few months, I definitely went through some difficult times in mostly in my mind and in my heart. But I came out victorious, feeling better than ever. And I think that's a very wonderful thing. You know, sometimes I'm afraid of difficulty. I'm afraid of hardship, afraid of failure and mistakes, and I mean, it's safe to say I still worry about those things. But you know, I started to kind of appreciate those things in a new light, because when you fail, you just know, I mean, it's so cliche, but you know what not to do next time. You know what I mean? You appreciate the times that you do succeed. And I don't know, these past few months, you know, after my teacher passed away, I had to do a lot of thinking. It brought me back to when I was in the Air Force and kind of thinking about those times, what I've learned then, because I completely forgot about all the life lessons I've took from that moment. Because when I came out into this real world setting, I just sort of forgot everything. You know, I had it too good. I totally forgot that I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Every morning, 4:30 in the morning, I had to do my ironing and make sure my shoes was polished. And then nowadays, you know, sometimes I wake up at 7, sometimes I wake up at 9. You know, ashamedly. Anyways, it's very ashaming. No, that's pretty bad too. I suck at English. But anyways, it's embarrassing to wake up around like 12 sometimes. That took a long time to get to that point, huh? Silly. But yeah, sometimes I wake up pretty late and stuff. And what I'm trying to get at is I should be appreciating the times that I have now, but I wasn't, because I was stuck in my own mind. I was so depressed about what I don't have and what I should have, but I don't. And, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, we totally get lost in our minds and just get so ungrateful sometimes. And I was going through some of those moments. But I think there were some huge life changes, life decisions that made my life so much better, like day and night better. And my very first life change, I would say, is, you know, church. For a long time, you know, I was stuck in this kind of semi-cultish church, okay? I would say their gospel is on point, you know, they preach kind of on point, but then there was a major flaw to it. There was no love. There was a lot of weird things to it. It made people into a Pharisee. You know a lot. Like, it's all head knowledge. But when it actually comes to doing it in real life, you know, expressing that work, you know what I mean? It just, you never see any fruit. There's so much hate and so much darkness and sadness. And it was just like, didn't make sense to me, but because we were so deep into it. And this was it. Like, this was our life. This was our religion, you know? But now that I look back at it and I look at that church from a fresh new perspective, I'm like, dude, it was strange, man. It was such a strange, non-Christian type environment. And I'm so glad we got out of it. So glad we got out of it. You know, we got introduced to this brother named Dick York. And this guy wrote many cool books, you know, and I read his books. I listened to him preach about the gospel and how simple it was. I learned about the eternal purpose of God, and it just brought so much peace in my life. It made me rest, you know. And that was, from that moment, everything started to, you know, come into place. Another big thing is I started to throw away a lot of the sins that used to, you know, I used to carry in my shoulder. Got rid of so many of them and just let it, goodbye, take it easy. And that made another notch in, you know, feeling amazing and feeling great. And another real big thing that I was dealing with was social anxiety. When I was a young kid, I never used to have social anxiety. I used to have many other problems because I was a little brat. But social anxiety wasn't one of them. I used to be able to talk to anybody at any time. I used to be in front of crowds and make speeches and not feel a thing. I don't know, it was just a very natural talent that I had that I didn't really think that it was anything special. And to be honest, I used to despise those who had social anxiety. You know, people who were very timid and shy and couldn't really say it, and, you know, and just very awkward. And I used to despise that as a kid. I was like, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, why? Why? Like, just say it. Just say it with your chest, man. What's wrong with you? Like, it made me so frustrated, you know? But I dealt with that on my own. Like, I experienced it firsthand how it feels like, you know, to be in that position. To have all these things you want to say but can't because of this, I don't know, this anxiety, this I don't know, this wall that says, like, if you say it, you're gonna look like a fool. You're gonna stutter your words. You're gonna get all this fear. You know, all these unnecessary fear would start to swarm my mind, and I couldn't, you know, verbalize. You know. So I was dealing with that, and I definitely went to God a lot for that. I was praying to the Lord. I was just like, you know, I really need help in this. I don't want to live my whole life as a hermit. You know? I think I picked up this whole social anxiety when I was in the Air Force, for sure. Like, from my innocent churchiosity, you know, religiosity type situation, I got plumped into this kind of like manly man world, you know. And it was just like innuendos after innuendos. Everybody was drinking all the time. It was just like rough at all times. You know, you're working with people who are like 40 years old. I'm looking back at it now. I was only 19, man. I was a little baby, right? I was a little baby carrying a toolbox, working with like 45-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 30-year-olds, you know. And what do you think they talk about? What do you think men talk about at a grunging type workplace? It's always, you know, about that kind of stuff. It's very dirty, evil stuff all the time, at all times. And I just could not handle it, man. I was just like, I was sick of it. Because I was carrying with me, no matter how much I want to change my exterior, no matter how much I want to act like them, I'll be like them and say things like them, deep inside my heart, I trusted in God. You know, I had the Bible in my heart. And it was like my spirit, my soul was crying out, Abba, Abba, Father, help me. But then my flesh was just like, yo, let's do this, let's do this. But then that lifestyle, that quick style, right, eventually led me into more sin and more darkness, more depression and more heavy, more guilt. And it ruined me. And I wasn't able to speak out like I once did. I didn't have the light as I once did. And I didn't notice this until later in life when it was starting to impact me in a very strong way. But, you know, over the past few months, like, dang, I made peace with that. You know, after making like these choices with God and having another renewed relationship with God, my life just became like life, you know, and light. And because I started to feel better about myself, and I found out, this is something that I already knew, and you probably know already, but it's like God says our body is a temple of God. And to me, it didn't make sense. Like, why is our body a temple of God? It doesn't, it doesn't seem very appealing. But if you really think about the human body, it's pretty magnificent, you know? You could express emotion and love and excitement, and you could worship with your body. You could sing praises with your body. Like, your body is such an amazing thing that God created to be inside of us, you know? And when I think about a temple, I think like a building, a church, you know? A church is a very simple thing. Stone and wood and electricity or whatever. It's very simple. The human body has all of that, you know? It has all of that, but it moves, it feels, it glows when it's happy, and it's amazing. It's such a wonderful place for God to be in. However, people nowadays, take that for granted, and they don't really do much for their body, you know? That's why there's so much obesity in America and in the world. We eat what we want to out of gluttonous, you know. And I know that poverty has a lot to do with, obesity and all this stuff, but it's also our mind and our choice. We don't care enough for our body. We don't love our bodies that God gave to us, and we don't believe that this is the temple of God, and therefore we don't do anything to clean it up, maintain it, make it a nice place for God to stay. You get what I'm saying? Like. But once that came into my mind, that simple word of God that said, our body is a temple of God. And from that moment, I just could not, just leave it be. So I started working out, I started to eat healthy. I started to exercise a lot. And because of that, I started to be more energetic, and I could do more for God. That's what I noticed. Oftentimes, when I'm not reading the Bible or praying or doing, videos or whatnot, it's because I'm tired. I'm always exhausted. I'm always tired and just lazy. And it's also because I don't have the energy to do that. And I think that's because of my lazy lifestyle and not really caring for my body and so on. So I changed that, and it's great. And I think the most important thing that I adopted, and something that I really encourage you guys to adopt, is prayer and Bible reading. I think that is the most important thing in the Christian life. For example, oftentimes we don't pray to God. We just kind of sit around, or as we're driving somewhere, or just when we eat our food, we say thank you. But when it really comes down to praying to God, to kneel before the Almighty, the King of all kings, the creator of the universe, and we don't really get on our knees and take the time to talk to Him and to pray to Him and to confess and to ask for petitions, or I guess petite, I don't even know, and to intercede for others, to pray for others, and so on. And I noticed that was something that I was heavily lacking in my Christian faith, in my walk with God. It's just that, but I made a pact with myself and in front of God that I will pray, and to read the scripture so that you hear what God has to talk to you. And I received that in many different ways, and it's been helping me a lot, and I want to encourage you guys to do the same. It's a difficult walk. Don't ever think it's going to be so easy and you're just going to do it. You're going to fail a lot. You're going to fall a lot. But get back up and get on that, and it's going to be very beneficial for you. And lastly, I think, what I learned over this past few months is love. Without love, there's nothing, really. You could be the best Christian, going to the church and all this kind of stuff and doing good deeds, but if there's no love in your actions and in your words, it's really nothing, And I'm very guilty of that too. I've lived a very Pharisee type life. I knew a lot mentally, but when it actually came down to love and doing and expressing that love, I was very lacking in that. And I'm sure I'm going to have some problems still because, we deal with these kind of things. But I think it's also faith to say that I will from now on love, because God is love. And it's no longer I that live, but Christ in me, I had to add that in there. And so I just wanted to share this simple message with you guys so that, in a hard day, or in a very difficult day, or when you're having exam day, or, I know how difficult it is going to school and trying to juggle your faith and your physical side and your mental side and all of that. I know how difficult it is, because I feel it too. I mean, this world is difficult, And there's a lot of wolves out there trying to eat you. They're little pretty sheep. And this is all the more reason to be vigilant and to listen to the shepherd's voice, and don't lean in your own understanding, right? I guess I just wanted to express how much I understand how difficult the struggle is, and more the struggle becomes real. But I guess I wanted to encourage and say that, like, I'm with you there, but God is with us. And if God is with us, who can be against us? And that's the truth. And a lot of the questions that I used to ask myself is God for me? How do I know that God is for me? And I heard this pastor say, look at the cross. Look at the foot of the cross. What do you see? And I mean, I could literally just say, yeah, I see Christ on that cross, dying for me, shedding for me, bleeding that death for me, a death which I had to take. And he's doing that for me, and he loved me that much. Who am I to be that loved, right? And it reminds me of what he has done for me and how much he has saved me from, and how he is saving me continuously until the very end. And that gave me so much hope and so much energy and so much rest, And I know that this is a very simple message, but I think sometimes we need to hear it over and over and over again to really stick in. So for now, I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say love you guys. Take it easy. Bye.